Hi, welcome back. This is a recipe that I've recently discovered for tiger bread, also known as dutchcrunch. The bread itself originated in the Netherlands, and basically it's the commercial name for a loaf of bread with a mottled crust. The crust is obtained by adding a paste made up of rice flour, water, and some other ingredients, which, due to its lack of gluten, cracks as the dough rises during baking. I actually found this recipe on YouTube, actually from a video which was spoken in Bosnian. I've linked the original video in the description box. The lady baking that recipe is making a large loaf, so I've just changed things slightly, and I'm doing the same recipe but using rolls. I looked at lots and lots of recipes for these, and this one, even though it was in a completely different language and I didn't understand a word she was saying, it just made sense and the final product looked fantastic. So I'm going to show you how I made them. Let's get on with the list of ingredients first of all. Right, so here we have, I'm using a stand mixer to make this because it's easier and I'm lazy. Okay, we're going to have 500 grams of flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, 180 mils of milk, 120 mils of water, a tablespoon of yeast. I use dried active yeast, and 20 grams of sugar and 30 grams of melted butter. I'm going to add the water to the milk, and I'm going to warm this gently in the microwave until it is just above body temperature. To the milk, I'm going to add the sugar. So that's the sugar going in, and the tablespoon of yeast. You can use whatever yeast you are used to using. I use dried active yeast. If you use fresh or fast action, then follow the method for those particular types of yeast. Okay, so I've mixed that thoroughly. I'm just going to leave it to sit for about 15 minutes. In this bowl, we've got the 500 grams of strong white bread flour, the teaspoon of salt, and I'm going to mix that in well. Yeast doesn't like hitting quantities of salt that haven't been mixed in with other things. It'll kill the yeast. Right, so I'm going to add the yeast liquid with the milk and the water and the sugar. Give it a quick stir. I'm going to add the wet ingredients to the dry. So that's the milk mixture going in and the melted butter. And I'm going to pop that on the stand mixer and just incorporate it until it's all mixed together. Add a little bit of extra water if you think it needs it. I add a few extra splashes. And what you're looking for at the end of this little step is basically a rough, shaggy dough. Don't worry about it being smooth or anything like that. We're going to leave it now to sit for about 15-20 minutes. Right, now for the topping. Okay, we've got half a tablespoon of yeast, just the dried active yeast I used before, 70 mils of tepid water, 60 grams of rice flour, half a teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of sugar, and 2 teaspoons of sunflower oil. Now, I would add an extra teaspoon of oil, so make it 3. And I'm just going to add all these ingredients together into this bowl. The reason why I say add more of that sesame oil is that the finished product in this case wasn't quite strong enough on the sesame for me, but you can always make a batch with 2 teaspoons and see how you feel. Now the dough's been sitting for its 15-20 minutes up to half an hour, and now it's time to knead. So I knead this in my stand mixer for about 6 minutes. If you're kneading by hand, it'll be 10 minutes plus, but 6 minutes seems to be just perfect in a stand mixer. And what you're looking for is a nice, smooth, elastic dough. And as you can see, it removes itself from the dough hook really easily. So now what we're going to do, as you can see, nice smooth dough. I'm just going to leave it on the countertop at room temperature, covered with a tea towel or plastic wrap, or in this case a shower cap. I'm going to leave it for about an hour. And as you can see, it's doubled in volume. And now what we're going to do, we're going onto a floured work surface. We're just going to knock back the dough. So we're just going to knock the air out of it. And we're going to shape it into the balls of dough that will eventually make your buns, baps, rolls, however you call bread rolls from wherever you are in the country or the world. So now all I'm doing is I'm getting into a shape that's going to be easy for me to divide into 6 equal portions. So I'm just going to divide the dough, but I will weigh it to start with, and then I'll divide that total weight by 6, and then I know how to divide up the dough to get nice equal rolls. You don't have to weigh it, you can go by eye, feel free. I was looking for uniform rolls in the end, so I'm just cutting the dough and weighing each section until I've got 6 equal portions. So that's the 6 portions, and now I'm just going to shape them into rolls. So in the palm of my hand, all I do is gather up the edges into the centre, and I am pinching and turning as I go. So pinch and turn, pinch and turn, pinch and turn. I'll do that for each roll to begin with. Pinch and turn, pinch and turn, pinch and turn. The dough's very smooth, it isn't sticky at all, and it's really easy to work with. So, right, so that's the 6 pinched and turned in my hand, and now I'm just going to use the stickiness, the slight stickiness on the bottom of that dough ball to form a nice tight skin. So all I'm doing is I'm turning quarter turn and pulling the dough back towards me using the friction on the work surface to tighten the outer skin of the dough. This just helps with shape and rise. Ensures you don't get flat rolls. So there they are, all shaped, and we're just going to cover with a tea towel and leave them to prove for about half an hour to begin with, and check them then. So these have had about half an hour, they've doubled in size, and they are nice and springy to the touch. This is the topping mixture. I've added 2 extra teaspoons of rice flour to this because it wasn't quite thick enough, and in actual fact I've thickened it a little too much, so you want it slightly looser than the mix that I've got here. So now all you do is you spread a generous amount onto each dough ball. You want to use up the entire quantity of topping mix over the 6 balls. So I've made quite a mess here, and as you can see I'll tidy up in a second, and then they're ready for in the oven. I'm going to add some water in here for steam. This just helps with the rise of the dough balls, and in they go, 200 degrees for about 20 to 25 minutes, just keeping an eye on the colour. As you can see, that topping cracks as the dough rises, and then hey presto, you've got lovely golden tiger rolls. This recipe can be used for a large loaf. It can be used also without the topping. It makes a beautiful soft white loaf or white rolls. Really versatile, great for sandwiches, and well, my kids went absolutely daft over these. So I'd really love it if you popped your comments down below about what you thought about the video, how I could improve it, and I really hope that you have a crack at these, as they are so simple to make. Anybody can do it. If I can do it, anybody can do it. You don't need a stand mixer. You don't need any special equipment, just an oven and your flour and the rest of your ingredients. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will catch you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.